Hello and welcome back everyone, we Weeb online, and today I'm gonna start a new series, What If Naruto Became a Gangster Part 1. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and to watch more videos like this, subscribe to my channel and turn that bell notification on so you never miss an upload. Now wasting no more time, let's begin.
Naruto sat on a swing beneath a tree. He'd failed the academy's graduation exam yet again. He didn't get it. He'd worked so hard, but it didn't seem to be enough. He watched in despair as the parents congratulated their children, his classmates, on their exam success. He wished he could be one of them, to have graduated and become a genin. But after so many failed attempts, he doubted his ability to become a shinobi. This was the side of him he would never show. In defeat, he rose from the swing, rubbed his eyes, and walked back to his apartment. As he continued on his way, he was met with the casual response of being ignored by the other villagers. This wasn't surprising. He'd grown accustomed to it, but it felt especially cold today. He ignored it, turned the corner to his apartment, and came to a halt. He'd run into one of the many people who were open about their dislike for him. "Didn't I say I'd rip off your head if I ever saw you again?" The man cracked his knuckles. Naruto gulped and dashed in the opposite direction. Normally, he'd use some of the jutsu he'd learned to escape, but the exam had depleted most of his chakra. His physical endurance training was the only thing he could rely on. Furthermore, if he attacked in self-defense, the other villagers may attempt to harm him as well. He got lost in an alley behind a bar and ended up at a dead end. "I'm going to enjoy this," he said to the man who had chased him. Naruto closed his eyes in fear as he raised his fist. A thud and a desperate groan were heard. Naruto awoke to find his pursuer unconscious on the ground. A man in a black suit wielding a katana stood behind the pursuer, shaking his head at the large man. Then he spat on the unaware pursuer while grumbling about chasing kids. Naruto couldn't help but notice the man's right hand had only 3 fingers, his thumb, forefinger, and middle finger. The man then seemed to freeze when he saw Naruto. Naruto would never know whether he froze because he had saved him or because he had simply remembered something important. The man's mouth dropped open in surprise, and his eyes widened as if he'd seen a ghost. The man stood there for a few seconds, staring at him before finally asking, "Are you okay?" Naruto gave a nod. He could tell who this man was, or rather, who he worked for, just by looking at him. He was a member of the Kurohi Syndicate, one of the village's Boryokuden. Naruto had always tried to stay away from the Boryokuden. The villagers had never liked him, and seeing him with a Yakuza could only make matters worse. "What's your name?" The man motioned for Naruto to follow. Naruto paused, not wanting to cause trouble and too afraid to respond. "Well?" the man inquired. "It's Naruto," he grumbled. He'd heard stories about what they did to liars and wasn't interested in finding out if they were true. The man motioned for Naruto to follow and nodded. Naruto walked around the unconscious man and out into the street with the gangster. When the man asked, "Where do you live?" he paused. Naruto took a quick look around and replied, "Down the street at the apartment complex." "Lead the way," the man said, motioning ahead. Naruto took the lead, eager to get home before anything else went wrong. The man's presence made Naruto uncomfortable, and the terrified looks from the villagers didn't help. Those who weren't intimidated admired the man as he escorted Naruto back to his apartment. Outside Naruto's house, a man handed him a card with an address on it. "If anyone ever causes you trouble, please come find me right away." "Naruto, do you understand?" More out of fear than anything else, Naruto nodded. The Kurohi were known for being both ruthless and honorable. They did not violate any of Konoha's laws, but what they did was morally bankrupt. Naruto went into his room and sat down after he was out of sight, trying to figure out what had happened. A Yakuza had assisted him. Furthermore, the gangster had been kind to him. The next day, Naruto learned that the man who had attacked him had been discovered half dead in a ditch outside the village. None of the Boryokuden accepted responsibility for the incident, claiming that the man had done nothing to offend them. Following that, the shinobi in the village became much more vigilant. Many witnesses to the previous day's incident claimed a Kurohi had attacked the man. When asked again, those same witnesses quickly changed their story. Needless to say, Naruto was affected negatively by the incident. Many villagers began to openly express their dislike for him or began to avoid his presence. This was also true at the academy, where everyone's chair had magically moved a full meter away from him, forming a visible circle around him. During Iruka's lecture, Naruto shifted once to pick up the pencil he dropped, only to notice the person to his side had moved away from Naruto's extended arm. Naruto recognized the message and chose a different pencil. Iruka, whom Naruto had always considered to be the closest thing to a father figure, avoided making eye contact with him. Aruka approached him after class. Naruto, I heard what happened. Is everything alright? Yes, Aruka-sensei, Naruto assured, noting that Aruka continued to avoid making eye contact. His teacher bit his lower lip. Are you certain? Other teachers have been saying strange things to me. Everything's fine, Naruto said, fearful of where the conversation was going. Aruka had probably heard about the incident with the Kurohi the day before. Does this have anything to do with the graduation exam? No, sensei, Naruto said, shaking his head. Just promise me you're not going to associate with any Basuzoku, okay? Aruka took a deep breath. All right, Aruka-sensei, Naruto replied with his trademark smile. This seemed to persuade Aruka as he patted Naruto on the back and said, okay, I'll take you to the Ikaraku tonight, okay? Naruto nodded enthusiastically. Aruka's voice was filled with fear. During the meal, Naruto encountered more of the negative attention he despised. Passers-by rushed past Ikaraku throughout the meal when they saw Naruto inside. Others would walk in, order something, notice Naruto, and then leave before the noodles were ready. The owner was forced to ask Aruka and Naruto to leave because they were scaring away customers. Naruto expressed regret to his teacher. Aruka stated that it couldn't be avoided and advised Naruto not to be concerned. But he couldn't help but be concerned. Naruto went to the address on the card Kurohi gave him the next day. The address was for an office building in Konoha's market district, roughly. The sign above the office was emblazoned in gold and depicted a dragon. Naruto hesitated to enter because the people outside were staring at him. When a man tending his shop saw Naruto, he seemed to become lost in thought, as if hoping he hadn't done anything to offend the boy. After a few moments of hesitation, a man emerged from the office, escorted by 2 guards. The previous man. His 2 escorts were dressed in black suits that were neatly pressed but not work appropriate. The escorts propped their collars up as they exited the building. When the man recognized Naruto, they were about to leave. He smiled and motioned to his 2 escorts, Yahiko, Keitaro. You 2 are fired. The 2 men nodded and went their separate ways, leaving him and Naruto alone. Is someone bothering you, Naruto? He asked. Naruto raised his head. Then why did you come here? The man said, biting his lower lip. Naruto was paralyzed. It was one thing to tell a Kurohi to back off, it was quite another to lie to him. Naruto opened his mouth to respond, but no words came out. Naruto noticed the man's right hand's tip was bandaged at that moment. He also took note of a dragon tattoo beneath his suit's collar. He swallowed again before asking, did you beat up that guy? No, I didn't, the man said, smiling and raising an eyebrow. Naruto searched his eyes for signs of deception but found none. Please, don't hurt any more people. Naruto realized he had lied. I haven't harmed anyone, he said. What's wrong? He asked, sensing Naruto's unease. Naruto went on, the villagers have gotten worse for me. My sensei and I were thrown out of the Ikaraku yesterday because I was scaring away too many customers. The gentleman nodded. I see. Don't be concerned, okay. Naruto examined the man, his eyes deep in thought, the kind of thought that had something to hide. For a split second, Naruto thought he saw a resemblance to the Reaper in his eyes. Only if you promise not to hurt any more people, Naruto argued. He was assured by the man, I've never harmed anyone. Just go home and forget about the whole thing. Naruto nodded, not wanting to press the issue any further, and returned to the apartment the Hokage had kindly provided for him. The man stood there watching Naruto fade away. The sun was setting in the west, casting a gloomy blood red over the village. Naruto awoke the next morning to a knock at his door. His watch read 5 a.m. The sun was rising outside, casting a foreboding orange light into the apartment. He rubbed his tired eyes and welcomed 3 shinobi inside. He guessed they were ANBU because all 3 wore animal masks and were dressed entirely in black hoods. What exactly is going on? Naruto inquired. Uzumaki Naruto, the lead ANBU said as he approached the boy, you're being arrested. Naruto awoke the next morning to a knock at his door. The time was 5 a.m., but the sun was rising outside, casting a foreboding orange into the apartment. He rubbed his tired eyes and welcomed 3 shinobi inside. He guessed they were ANBU because all 3 wore animal masks and were dressed entirely in black hoods. What exactly is going on? Naruto inquired. Uzumaki Naruto, the lead ANBU said as he approached the boy, you're being arrested. What? Naruto stepped back. His mouth hung open in surprise, hoping it was some cruel joke. The ANBU charged at Naruto, one grabbing him from behind and another tying a rope around his hands to bind them. They then dragged the boy, kicking and screaming, out of his apartment and onto Konoha's streets. Naruto was detained for speaking with a known Yakuza, much to his horror. To make matters worse, they intended to transport him to a prison in another country where they could do whatever they wanted with the boy. He was loaded into an ox cart convoy. The carts were hidden behind a sign that read, "Supplies." The convoy sat in the street as more arrested men and women were loaded inside. Some Jonin appeared around midday. The heat in the cages had caused most of the occupants to pass out by this point. The convoy began to move through the streets. So, what's the deal with this sausage fest? When are we going to get to those hot lady Yakuza I keep hearing about? One of the younger Jonin inquired. Those Boryokuden have no women in their organization, scoffed the top ANBU. Why not? Inquired the Jonin. It's written into their so-called code. The woman diverts attention and can cloud judgment. Besides, what self-respecting woman would associate with such a gang of scumbags? Hey, I'm not a scumbag. Naruto sobbed. The ANBU turned to face him. Naruto shivered. Despite wearing a mask, the ANBU was clearly staring at him. No, you're even worse. You gave up your future as a shinobi for this. As if it matters. You'll despise me either way, Naruto stated this. The ANBU laughed. The convoy continued outside the village and into the countryside. The convoy was headed to an unnamed location deep in the mountains. As the convoy approached a fork in the road, the sun began to set in the distance, casting an eerie orange glow on it. Two men were standing in their way. Both were dressed in high-collared black suits with matching ties and sunglasses. The first wielded a katana, while the second wielded two wakizashi. "What are you doing?" demanded the lead ANBU. "The Kurohi is in charge of this path. If you intend to use it, you must pay the toll," said the first, holding out a small jar. The ANBU in command stood tall. "We are Konohagakure shinobi. We don't give money to thugs." "Konoha, I blunder," the first stated. He bowed and moved aside to allow the convoy to pass. He motioned for the second Kurohi to follow his lead. The convoy began to move again, taking the left fork and disappearing around a mountain bend. The ANBU remained tense for the rest of their journey, while the majority of the Jonin had forgotten about the Kurohi. By nightfall, a thick fog had descended. A massive sword appeared out of nowhere, beheading the majority of the Jonin and killing one of the ANBU. "What was that?" a young Jonin exclaimed in surprise. "Watch out," exclaimed the lead ANBU. Around them, a wall of mirrors appeared. A young man with dark hair that flowed and a mask appeared. Senbon needles rained down on them from all directions before anyone knew what had happened. There was no way to avoid it, and no way to get away from it. Each shinobi collapsed. "Well done, Zabuza," a young man with spiky hair said. "We've found you a safe haven in the land of waves. For the time being, you'll be safe there. Gatu, one of our associates, will gladly look after you." Zabuza replied, "Let's go, Haku." Zabuza and Haku went their separate ways, leaving the man alone. The man drew his ninjato and began to unlock the cart's locks. Two men crawled out of the bushes as each lock broke. They looked inside the cart and began rousing the passengers. They eventually arrived at the last cart. Inside, there was a blonde. The same blonde they were dispatched to save. Naruto awoke from his trance. Before the ninja could take him anywhere, a menacing man with bandages around his face and a massive sword slaughtered every ANBU and Jonin in the convoy before confronting Naruto. Naruto exhaled a sigh of relief, knowing it was all a dream. As his vision improved, he sat up from his futon. "Wait, futon? I don't sleep on a futon, do I? What happened to my bed?" Naruto scurried out, taking in his surroundings. He was in a small space. Nothing stood out except for a window that looked out onto a lovely garden and a single light bulb hanging from the ceiling. When he looked down, he noticed that his clothes had been changed. His usual blue pajamas had been replaced with white ones. A growling nose signaled his hunger, and he exited the room, more concerned with where he was than where the nearest ramen was. Naruto stepped outside, into a small corridor that led to the garden. The garden was lined with rose bushes, with a small stone path leading into a pond in the center. Naruto blinked to ensure he wasn't having a hallucination. He decided he wasn't crazy after rubbing his eyes several times and returned to his search for ramen. His enhanced ninja senses alerted him to two people approaching him as he walked down the hall. He quickly ducked into one of the garden's bushes. Two people turned the corner, just as he had predicted. They dashed into the garden, past Naruto's hiding place, and came to a halt by the pond. One of them was a young man he remembered as Keitaro. The other was a lovely lady with long, flowing brown hair. The two of them kissed, and Naruto couldn't take his gaze away from them. They were physical polar opposites. Keitaro was a full head taller than the woman and had short dark hair that covered the right side of his face. His lover was short and had light brown skin and long brown hair. Their physical differences complemented each other. Surprisingly, watching the two of them gave Naruto a warm feeling. Naruto's only affection came from Iruka-sensei, so the two lovers in front of him caused him to feel strange. Perhaps he was perverted. The woman abruptly broke away from the kiss and turned away from Keitaro. The lady began to say something. Naruto approached them as close to them as he could without being seen. "We can't keep doing this, Keitaro. You know what your father will do when he finds out," she stated. Keitaro kissed her softly. "I know, but I adore you too much to simply." Naruto's stomach clenched. Under his breath, he cursed. "SHH. Someone is approaching, I believe," according to the woman. The couple bolted in opposite directions. Naruto crawled out of his hiding spot once he was certain they were a safe distance away. Naruto wished he knew what they were going to say, but he decided to ignore it and continue his search for ramen. Naruto wandered into a long dark corridor while searching once more. From one of the doors, he heard the familiar voices of Keitaro and Hashi. Naruto was leaning against the door before he realized what he was doing. Gato is becoming a real annoyance, boss. He is spending more than he is earning. Worse, he's threatening to split from the Kumicho and form his own gang. We can't do anything without the approval of Boss Kurohi. Gato, after all, is just a pawn in the land of waves. He could send 30, 40, or even 50 armed bandits after us at best. However, a single Ronin can easily disperse them. Now, how is our visitor doing? He's still sleeping in his room, Naruto snorted. Everything has been taken care of, exactly as you requested. We'll be ready for him whenever you are. What exactly do they mean by prepared? Oh no, Naruto's thoughts raced. They're going to kill me. But why is that? He'd done nothing to offend them. Is it because he asked Hashi to step back? No way, it couldn't be. Could be. Good. I'm going to see him then. Naruto heard footsteps approaching the door. He panicked and looked around the hall for a hiding place, but it was too late. When the door opened, Hashi poked his head out. "Oh, Naruto, you've arrived." Naruto was scared. He didn't know what to say to Hashi. Hashi was taken aback by Naruto's sudden appearance. Naruto and Hashi remained silent until Naruto's stomach growled louder than it had ever before. Naruto's face flushed, and he quickly apologized to the Kurohi boss. Hashi smirked and remarked, "There is no need to apologize. Let me get you something to eat. You don't mind eating ramen, do you?" Naruto's expression brightened. Hinata was astounded by what she was witnessing. She'd heard Naruto was the only one who didn't graduate from the academy, and decided to pay him a visit to see how he was coping. A rumor spread throughout the village that Naruto had decided to stop being a ninja and join a Boryokuden. She laughed it off as nothing more than a rumor. After all, Naruto was far too optimistic to let failing the graduation exam derail his plans. Furthermore, the Boryokuden were not as valiant as they claimed to be. They cause harm to innocent people all in the name of personal gain. Naruto was not like that at all. He was a generous person. However, when she arrived at Naruto's apartment, it appeared that she had been proven incorrect. Naruto's front door was ajar. The room was in general disarray, implying that a fight had broken out. To make matters worse, there was a note pinned to the doorframe. The occupant of this apartment has been detained in accordance with Article 24 of the Konohagakure no Sato Securities Act for affiliation with a known Yakuza. The occupant will be taken to a secure location and returned once his innocence is proven. Sandame Hokage of Konohagakure no Sato, Sarutobai. Hinata blinked her tears away. He was the boy she admired. Naruto had completed his 7th bowl of ramen. He couldn't help but feel guilty for overindulging at Hashi's expense. While he ordered bowl after bowl, Hashi simply asked for sake. He didn't know Hashi, but when it came to ramen, Naruto couldn't stop himself. He could feel Hashi's gaze on him as he sipped the last of the soup. Naruto stacked the bowls on top of each other and placed another order. He looked around the small bar as he waited for the bowl to arrive. It was cozy, with a few tables spread out and 3 or 4 chairs at each. The bar was designed to look more like a home than a business, giving it a homey feel. The only issue Naruto had was that everyone seemed to keep a 3-meter distance between him and Hashi. When Hashi summoned the bartender or a waiter to take an order, one of the employees would always be hesitant to approach Hashi. A push from 1 or 2 of the other waitresses was usually required to get the person started. A light conversation had begun between the two about Naruto's desire to become a ninja, followed by Hashi's missing 2 fingers. It was to make amends, he explained. Naruto looked at him, perplexed for what purpose. You don't appear to be the type of person who would need to make up stories for anyone. So there you have it. Isn't it true that a samurai can become a Ronin if he disgraces his master? Are you referring to a feudal lord? Naruto imagined a man in a fancy outfit kicking Hashi down some stairs. No, wait, yeah. Just like a feudal lord. Anyway, if the Ronin wants to regain the favor of the feudal lord, He must give the feudal lord something. So you gave him your middle finger. Yes, a samurai's most powerful weapon is his sword. Few people realize, however, that the samurai grips the sword with his last finger, not his first. Right? So, if the samurai gives the feudal lord the last finger on his hand, the feudal lord knows that the samurai has weakened himself. However, why would anyone do that? To demonstrate to the feudal lord that he is more loyal. Someone with 4 fingers, for example, cannot hold the sword as well as someone with 5 fingers. The Ronin becomes increasingly reliant on the feudal lord. This is why the feudal lord accepts the Ronin once more. If the samurai wants to keep what he values most, he will have to be more loyal to the feudal lord. What is most important? Exactly. Naruto could comprehend what Hashi was saying. Naruto was certain he would do the same thing if it meant protecting what he valued. Iruka-sensei, for example. There was a tense silence that was only broken by Naruto slurping down more noodles. Hashi, why are you so nice to me? Naruto finally asked a question that had been bothering him. Do I really need a reason? It's just that no one has ever been that kind to me, with the exception of Iruka-sensei. Well, simply put, birds of a feather flock together, Hashi said as he looked at Naruto. What does this have to do with birds? It's a parable. You see, you remind me a lot of myself when I was your age. I used to aspire to be a ninja. Then why are you a yakuza? Hashi sipped on his sake. He abruptly removed the bottle from his lips and stared off into space. Naruto's eyes welled up with fear. When he looked at Hashi, he noticed the fire in his eyes. The bottle in Hashi's hand shattered, sending shards of glass and sake flying everywhere. Naruto ducked out of the way of the glass and returned his gaze to Hashi. Hey, are you all right? Naruto inquired. Hashi awoke from his trance and looked at Naruto. Was it something I said? Said Naruto, terrified. I'm fine, Hashi responded. Hashi laughed to himself when he realized his hand was wet. He quickly wiped it off with napkins and began wiping up the spilled sake. He then requested another bottle. Hashi gratefully accepted the bottle and drank it all at once. Hashi paid the bill plus twice the bill's total in tip after Naruto finished his 9th bowl. They then exited the bar and went back to Hashi's compound. The compound was located in a mountain village halfway between the lands of fire and waves. Its convenient location put it outside the law of both countries, though the villagers were more accepting of the land of fire's currency and customs. Hashi's compound was a small manor surrounded on all sides by high walls in the heart of town. The only way in was through an iron fence guarded by 2 men armed with traditional katana. The guards were teaching 3 boys the art of swordsmanship when Naruto and Hashi arrived. The boys appeared to be a few years older than Naruto, but they were dressed similarly in black suits and shades. Naruto watched in awe as one of the guards expertly parried, dodged, and swung at all 3 boys. The guard's movements appeared fluid and perfect as he gracefully reacted to each boy's sword. All 3 boys were eventually beaten and lying on the ground, trying to catch their breath. The guard helped them all up and began laughing. The boys laughed along with the guard. Naruto had a flashback to his time at the academy with Iruka. Do you want to learn it? Hashi inquired. What did you learn? Naruto inquired. Bushido is our code, our way of life, Hashi explained. It's a system of honor, pride, and inner strength. Bushido, Naruto, began to wonder. Why does that name ring a bell? Hashi sighed and said, you're most likely uninterested. You'd rather be a shinobi, after all. The Ninja Academy most likely taught you everything you know about Nindo. Could I, in fact? Naruto inquired. Who knows, this Bushido seemed interesting. Perhaps it will help him become a better ninja. After all, it was the warrior way. Sure, if you prefer, we can begin tomorrow, Hashi stated. Naruto smiled brightly. That night, some men arrived with Naruto's belongings. Because Naruto would be staying at the manor for a while, Hashi dispatched them to Konoha to retrieve his belongings. Naruto inquired as to when he would return to Konoha. Hashi never responded. Naruto awoke early the next morning. What was his first thought? Today is the day I start learning Bushido. His clock read 2:59 a.m., much to his chagrin. He groaned in despair and tried to sleep again, but he was too excited. He tossed and turned in his bed, knowing that the training wasn't supposed to begin until later, but the anticipation was wearing him down. Images of himself fighting with the katana flashed through his mind. The weight was beginning to wear on him. He kept looking at his clock to see what time it was. 3 a.m., 3:01 a.m. Come on, there's no way time ever moved this slowly, yelled Naruto, frustrated. Naruto became irritated and decided to go for a walk. The manor was completely dark. The corridors were pitch black, especially with all the curtains drawn. Naruto went out into the garden because he couldn't stand the darkness. As he stepped outside, he was greeted by a cool breeze. The night air was cool and filled with croaking frogs and chirping crickets. Naruto sat down by the pond and gazed up at the starry sky above. As the wind blew, a few clouds drifted by, blocking out the moon's light. "Hey, aren't you the Naruto kid?" said a voice. "Who said that?" Naruto exclaimed. "I did," the voice said once more. "Down here," Naruto said as he looked around for the source of the voice. When Naruto looked down, he noticed a small orange toad dressed in a blue jacket. He gave a blink. It returned the blink. He cocked his head. It cocked its head. "Wait, did you say that?" "No, it was a cricket," it sarcastically replied. Naruto recoiled at the sight in front of him. "Whoa, kid, slow down," the toad said. "I didn't mean to scare you, I just wanted to get a look at you." My name is Gamakichi, and I'm assuming you're Naruto." Yeah, if there was any proof on Earth that Naruto was insane, it was right in front of him. He was conversing with a toad. Worse, the toad was responding. "Yeah, I heard about you. Back in Konoha, they're all talking about how you failed the graduation exam and ended up joining a Boryokyuden as a result." "Hey, I didn't join anything," exclaimed Naruto. Gamakichi, unfortunately, did not hear him. "So you failed a graduation exam. That's no reason to become a Yakuza. Instead, you should have started a noodle chain. I hear you love ramen." "I said I'm not a Yakuza," exclaimed Naruto. "Whatever, do you have anything to eat around here? I've been hopping around all day looking for something to eat." "Oh well. Hey, that's one fancy place you've got over there. I'm sure you've got a huge kitchen with all kinds of food," Gamakichi exclaimed, staring hungrily at the manor. "Well, I guess. How come we're still out here? I'm hungry." Naruto reluctantly took the lead and led the talking toad into the house. Gamakichi exclaimed loudly upon entering, "Whoa ho. You got one huge place here, kid. IBMMF. SHH. Naruto said, trying to keep the toad quiet. "Do you want to wake everyone up?" Naruto let Gamakichi go after he nodded. Naruto wandered aimlessly through the halls, hoping the kitchen was just around the corner. "Geez, this house is bigger on the inside," Gamakichi observed, "and I think we've passed the bathroom before." Naruto lied. No, we didn't." He came to a halt in front of the next door and opened it, hoping to find the kitchen. It was an unusually large indoor bath, much to his surprise. He quickly shut the door and opened the next. "All right, kid. You came through," Gamakichi exclaimed. Naruto attempted to intervene, but it was too late. The little toad had already opened the fridge and was devouring everything. Rice balls, dumplings, red bean soup, leftover fried rice, barbecue, uncooked noodles, and even raw beef. He gulped and slurped loudly, making quite a commotion as he ate. As Gamakichi finished each dish, bowls, plates, and glasses fell to the floor. To catch each item as it fell, Naruto had to duck, dive, and roll. "Whoa, slow down," Naruto exclaimed. "Can't you eat a little less messy?" "Thanks for the grub, kid. If you need anything, just call." Gamakichi burped loudly as he hopped away from the empty fridge. He then jumped out a window into the pitch-black night. Would it have killed him to clean up after himself? Naruto asked as he shut the window and looked around the kitchen. Naruto's snatched plates and bowls were neatly stacked on the counter. Except for a few stains and splattered food, the fridge was empty. When Hashi walked in, rubbing his eyes, Naruto groaned at the prospect of cleaning up the mess. "What's the big deal?" he wondered. "It looks like you were hungry, so just clean up after yourself, and I'm going back to sleep," he said, looking at Naruto, and then at the mess. "Wait, you're not just going to leave me to clean this up? Well, you had the audacity to make it yourself." Naruto was about to object when Hashi gave him an evil look. Naruto went straight to work cleaning the dishes and the fridge. Some of the guards came in for a quick breakfast and were surprised to find that the food had all been consumed. Most of them wanted to sock Naruto but were too afraid of Hashi's reaction. Instead, they decided to eat at one of the town's diners. Naruto spent the majority of the morning washing every dish. The sun had already passed the horizon and was high in the sky when he finished. "Oh man, that toad could eat." Naruto dashed outside after quickly changing out of his pajamas. Naruto walked through the garden to the dojo at the far end. When Hashi told Naruto to meet him at the dojo, he assumed he meant somewhere in town. Hashi pointed to it and told him it was in the garden. Naruto's jaw dropped, mortified that he hadn't noticed it earlier. Naruto had seen many dojos around Konoha but was never allowed inside or even near one. The dojo appeared to be a run-down house from the outside. Naruto realized how deceptive appearances could be once he was inside. The wooden interior appeared to have been recently polished and smelled entirely of incense. The wall opposite the entrance was completely covered in various katana. Each was distinct in its own way, some more so than others. A small shrine stood in front of the wall, complete with lit candles and several scrolls. Naruto approached the wall and began inspecting each sword. His attention was drawn to a red katana in the far corner. The hilt's tip was fashioned after a fox's head. The blade was red, with an eerie resemblance to blood. Naruto unknowingly yanked it off the wall to get a better look at it. The hilt was lined with a gold crisscross pattern. The blade's edge was covered with small diamonds that had been sharpened to resemble teeth. Naruto would have assumed it was a saw if he didn't know any better. "Do you enjoy it?" "Who said that?" Naruto asked, his sword close to his side. The voice sounded both familiar and strange. It had a malice tone to it, and it made him shake furiously. "I apologize, I didn't mean to startle you," Hashi said. A wave of relief washed over Naruto. "I see you like that sword," he said as he walked through the threshold and began opening the windows. Then Naruto quickly replaced the katana on the wall. "You can keep it if you want," Hashi said. "I never liked it anyway." "How did you get it?" Naruto wondered. Hashi became immobile. He stood there, glued to his spot, before responding. "I got it from a priest," Hashi explained. "He asked me to keep it until he came to retrieve it, and he died a month later, so I've been holding on to it ever since. Apparently, its price is around 70 million ryu." "What? 70 million? Yeah," Hashi said, pulling the sword from its sheath, a ruby-tinted, silver blade with a diamond-encrusted edge and a golden hilt shaped after the cubi. "It's worth a feudal lord's ransom. But enough about that, you wanted to learn Bushido," Hashi said as he examined the sword more closely before returning it to its place on the wall. "Hey, yeah, I was so excited, I couldn't sleep," Naruto exclaimed. "I'm sure they've conditioned you enough at Konoha's Ninja Academy, so we'll skip it and go straight into Kenjutsu," Hashi said as he opened a closet at the far end of the room. "Kenjutsu? Yes, the art of the sword," Hashi said, pulling 2 wooden katanas from the closet. He handed one to Naruto, who asked, "What is this?" "A shinai. I'm not sure if they covered swords in your academy, but a sword isn't meant to be thrown around like a kunai or a shuriken. Raise your shinai like this," Hashi said as he moved to the opposite end of the room and faced Naruto. "Yes, Hashi-sensei," Naruto nodded, mimicking Hashi's stance. The honorific surprised Hashi. He was honored to be given the title. Nonetheless, he found it strange to be addressed as sensei. Hashi and Naruto emerged from the dojo a few hours later. Naruto clutched the fox-like katana Hashi had given him, clutching it tightly. He wasn't sure why, but he felt a strange connection to it, as if the sword were a long-lost brother or a loved one. He was also exhausted. However, Naruto's exhaustion had no effect on his ninja senses. Naruto only needed to make a noise to push Hashi out of the way. Hashi landed on the grass and looked up just in time to see why Naruto had pushed him down. Hashi would have been impaled by a kunai if Naruto hadn't intervened. "A kunai?" he inquired. A hissing sound. Naruto's pupils dilated. Hashi and Naruto dashed away from the dojo just as an exploding tag detonated, destroying the structure. Naruto and Hashi were thrown into the pond by the shockwave, the heat of the explosion burning Naruto's neck. "What was that?" said Naruto as he emerged from the water first, followed by Hashi. A second explosion echoed through the garden, scattering birds into the air. A third explosion followed, this time with a loud clang of metal colliding. A brawl had erupted somewhere in the manor. Naruto was gradually regaining his composure. "Naruto Uzumaki," a cold voice said. Naruto and Hashi looked up to see an ANBU combat gear standing on the roof of the way. The man was dressed in standard ANBU combat gear, which included skin-tight black spandex under gray body armor and arm guards. The ANBU wore a mask with a broken top left corner. To compensate, the ANBU wore his headband at an angle, covering the exposed side of his face. His silver hair was the only thing that set him apart. Naruto inquired, "Who are you?" "I am Scarecrow of Konoha's ANBU Block Ops. You, Naruto Uzumaki, are wanted for evading arrest, association with a Yakuza, bribery and blackmail, endangering the lives of Konoha's citizens, and conspiracy to murder several Konoha's ninja. You have been sentenced to death as part of your punishment." "What kind of bogus crime is that?" yelled Naruto. "I've done nothing wrong." "Naruto's right," Hashi exclaimed, a deadly tone in his voice. As Hashi climbed out of the pond, Naruto noticed something strange about him right now. Naruto had only seen Hashi like this once before, at the bar the day before, when his eyes appeared to be on fire. "Naruto, give me kitsune," Hashi yelled. Naruto threw the katana at Hashi without hesitation. Hashi grabbed it and pulled the crimson blade from its sheath. The ANBU jumped from his position and drew a ninjato. Hashi and the ANBU swung their weapons at each other, each attempting to disarm the other. Naruto saw grace in the way they fought. It appeared to be more like a perfectly coordinated dance than armed combat. The ANBU would block Hashi's swing of his sword. The ANBU would then try to hit Hashi, who would step to the side. Then Hashi retaliated with a kick or a punch, and the ANBU tried to hit Hashi with a kunai or a shuriken. "Boss!" yelled a guard as he entered the garden. The guard pulled out his sword and charged at the ANBU. The ANBU anticipated this situation and set off an exploding tag he had hidden in the grass. The guard took a few steps into the air before landing in a rose bush. He screamed and clutched his left leg or what was left of it. The explosion had ripped his leg from knee to foot away from his body. This is Naruto's eyes widened. Hashi swung down on Kitsune and caught the ANBU's ninjato. The ANBU made several hand signs with his left while holding the ninjato with his right arm. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Right behind Hashi, an ANBU clone appeared. Hashi's clone drew a kunai and raised it above his head. Before the clone could even hit Hashi, Naruto jumped in and kicked it in the head. In a puff of smoke, the clone vanished. Naruto then dashed over to assist Hashi. "Stay back," Hashi said. But Hashi-sensei Naruto paused. "Get back," yelled Hashi. The ANBU pushed the ninjato down hard on the katana, and Hashi buckled under the force, trying to figure out where the ANBU got his strength from. Then Hashi noticed a faint blue energy covering the edge of the ninjato. "I understand. You're making use of your chakra," Hashi observed. The ANBU scowled and drew a kunai into his other hand. What happened next completely surprised the ANBU. Hashi recklessly dived at Scarecrow, and both fell to the ground. Scarecrow was pinned to the ground, the kunai inches away from his hand. Hashi held the ANBU by the neck, tightening his grip to make Scarecrow choke. "You're not so tough now, are you?" Hashi mocked. Suddenly, a cloud of black smoke blinded everyone, and it became clear that Scarecrow had made a quick escape. Naruto dashed over to Hashi, who was coughing furiously, saying, "Smoke bomb always messes me up. Are you okay, Hashi?" "Yeah, here's your katana," Hashi said, thrusting the katana back into Naruto's hand, and Naruto felt a strange warmth as he took the sword. "Boss, what happened?" Keitaro and several of the guards yelled. "Keitaro, what were you doing?" Hashi demanded, as several guards carried the injured guard into the manor, Keitaro panting. A food cart arrived to deliver the groceries. However, someone stuffed it with exploding tags. The bomb exploded, destroying the compound's gate and killing the 2 gate guards. ANBU then appeared. Ju's 3 trainees were the first to perish. We were able to keep them at bay, but they took out half of our team in the process. It's funny because we were attacked by an ANBU, Hashi added. Keitaro came to a halt to catch his breath, while Naruto found himself shaking uncontrollably and tried to calm down. "We've never been hit like this before. This wasn't a random attack," Keitaro exclaimed as he struggled to catch breath. "No, it was too well planned. This was a hit from within." Naruto was clearly the primary target. A chill ran down Naruto's spine, and the hairs on the back of his neck stood on end. Someone had orchestrated an attempt on his life, and the obvious perpetrator were anyone or everyone in Konoha. After all, they had always hated him and wanted his death, and now they had just cause. It was just a question of how to do it. "Phone our contact in Konoha," Hashi said, and Keitaro nodded and left. "Naruto," Hashi tried to calm himself down. "Are you sure, Hashi-sensei?" "Pack your belongings," Hashi said calmly, handing Naruto the katana. "Are we going somewhere?" "You, not us." "Naruto, I'm sorry, but you'll have to go into hiding." Hiding? Naruto had the impression that he knew where Hashi was going. "I'm going to send you to the land of waves." The land of the waves. He's sending me all the way. It's inconvenient. Unfortunately, this attack has demonstrated that even in my own home, I cannot protect you. So I'm sending you to the land of waves. It's against the law of the land of fire, and thus beyond Konoha's control. It would be considered an act of war if they went there. For the time being, you'll be safe. How about my training? Naruto inquired. "You are supposed to teach me kenjutsu. I'll send Keitaro with you." Hashi patted him on the head. "He'll be your protector and mentor from now on." Naruto grimaced, still unable to believe Konoha sent a team of a NBU to kill him. Deep in his heart, a hatred for his former home planted itself, a cold seed ready to sprout into something more powerful. Naruto awoke agitated the next day, in contrast to his normally cheerful disposition. After a quick breakfast of some instant ramen, Naruto ran upstairs and gathered his belongings. As he placed the last of his clothes into a backpack, he noticed Kitsune leaning on the wall opposite his futon. Naruto gazed at it for a long time, admiring its elegant design. My blade. I'm an extension of myself. Naruto blinked. Were those his thoughts? He had heard that voice before, and it had asked him if he liked Kitsune. A single thought flashed through Naruto's mind, an entity that haunted the worst fears of Konoha's inhabitants, a demon that wreaked havoc and destruction wherever it went. The Kyuubi. Naruto brushed the thought aside, tying the katana around his waist and running downstairs. Keitaro was waiting for him at the door, dressed in a blue cloak with a matching rice hat. Naruto raised an eyebrow at Keitaro's choice in garb, finding the clothes a little unusual. Naruto opened his mouth to ask why, but Keitaro had shoved a cloak and rice hat into Naruto's arms. Slip these on. I believe I got the sizes correct. It may be a little big for you, but you'll grow into it. Can you tell me why you want me to wear these? Naruto inquired. Do you think we don't want people to know who we are? Keitaro inquired, mistaking Naruto's silence for a no. Well, if I dress normally, a lot of our competitors will attack us on sight. Besides, your orange doesn't blend in with the surroundings. It practically begs you to come and get me. Put those clothes on now. We want to get as far as we can before the sun rises. Naruto nodded in understanding and quickly threw on the cloak and hat. He would never have guessed it, but these Yakuza were pretty kind-hearted, albeit their methods were questionable. He had originally thought they were little more than thugs and crooks looking to steal, kill, and destroy as much as possible. Naruto remembered Iruka-sensei was giving a lecture about how Boryokuden would often raid poor towns for money, jewelry, and women. So, where are we heading? Naruto asked his guard as they walked past the compound's mangled gates. A town on the coast just south of here. Our shade down there is Gadu, Keitaro explained calmly. As Keitaro walked ahead, Naruto noticed Keitaro walked with a limp, possibly from yesterday's fight. Many people stopped to ask Keitaro where he was going, if he wanted a snack, or if Hashi needed help repairing the damage to his manor, to which Keitaro simply replied, "Sorry, need to go. We'll talk after I return from my business trip." When one of them mentioned Keitaro's lover and whether her father was aware of the relationship, Keitaro's face flushed. "Aren't you well known?" Naruto boldly stated after someone offered Keitaro a free meal. "Don't misunderstand me, kid. Whatever nonsense they fed you back at Konoha was complete nonsense, okay? We're not thugs, nor are we murderers, nor are we criminals. So, who are you? I'll leave that to Boss Hashi." The sun was about to break the horizon, casting its warm light on the life below, and Naruto found himself admiring Kitsune a little more than he should have, unsheathing it every now and then to admire its beauty. The sword was excellently made. It did not dull once during Hashi's fight with Scarecrow, and there appeared to be no damage to it at all, as if the sword had been made yesterday. They had only traveled a few miles into the land of waves and were deep within a wooded area, with nothing but forest as far as the eye could see. A kunai appeared out of nowhere and landed inches away from Naruto, causing him to leap back several feet, with Keitaro immediately stepping in front of him. How come I couldn't hear it coming? Naruto wondered. Is anyone there? Keitaro drew a katana from his cloak and unsheathed it. Naruto scanned the immediate area, but found nothing out of the ordinary. Off in the corner was a snow-white rabbit sniffing the nearby bushes before disappearing into the foliage. "The Kurohi owns this road. What is your company's name?" a stern voice demanded. "Is that Zabuza?" Keitaro said dully, putting his katana away. Then a man appeared. He was a large, well-built man with an equally large sword. He was almost entirely naked, save for the striped pants and bandages he chose to wear. Naruto quivered, remembering the events that transpired in his dream. The man's name was Mamachi Zabuza, also known as the Demon of the Mist. As the leader of the coup d'etat on Kirigakure no Sato, Zabuza had a bounty on his head so large that even criminals were afraid to associate with him. The only reason he was still alive was because he found grace in the presence of the Kumicho of the Kurohi. Naruto watched in awe as the giant of a man unsheathed his weapon, which despite its size and weight he was able to grasp entirely with one hand, raised it over his head, and swung it down. Naruto instinctively jumped backwards, and the sword dug itself into the dirt a few inches from Keitaro's foot. "Gadu has you doing his work once more?" Keitaro inquired, and Zabuza growled, "Your boss sent me to that man, saying Gadu would be glad to look after us. Instead, he dispatches me on his errands, threatening to inform the nearest shinobi village of my location if I do not comply." "Right, sorry about that," Keitaro said with a shrug. "Wait, who are you?" "He's Zabuza," Naruto inquired impatiently, and Keitaro frowned. "He's an S-rank criminal wanted for treason in every shinobi village. We've given him a safe house, but it appears Gadu regards him as just another lackey." Naruto struggled, trying to loosen Zabuza's grip by squeezing the man's muscular arms as Zabuza grabbed him by the collar of his clothes and raised the boy to eye level. Is he the one your boss is working so hard to keep safe? He doesn't look like much, Zabuza said, inspecting every inch of the blonde boy. What material is he made of? Zabuza thrust a kunai into Naruto's neck. Put him down, Keitaro said, and before Zabuza could respond, Keitaro slashed the monster of man's neck with the tip of his katana. Zabuza was wearing a demonic smile across his face, taunting Keitaro with a shrill chuckle. I wouldn't do that, a boy said, turning to see a masked boy with long hair tied into a bun. Naruto examined the boy's garb, a simple dress kimono, and concluded one thought, cross-dresser. The boy held a kunai threateningly to Keitaro's neck. Naruto could feel the tension in the air. The masked boy flung 2 senbon needles into the foliage, and an orange toad in a blue jacket leaped out, angrily shouting, "What are you trying to do? Assassinate me." "Gamakichi," said Naruto, immediately recognizing the toad. "What exactly are you doing here?" "What? Can't a toad take a vacation?" The masked boy grabbed the toad by the vest and held him to his face, causing Gamakichi to squirm and stick his tongue out at him. "It's amusing that a toad can talk. The last time I checked, only a ninja-summoned toad could talk," he replied, and Gamakichi froze, stuttering, "I am their Uridum. And only one village has the scroll to summon toads," Gamakichi's boy said, raising a kunai to his throat. "Leave him alone." Naruto yelled at the boy, swinging his legs wildly to loosen Zabuza's grip, and Keitaro drew his katana from Zabuza's throat and snatched Naruto from Zabuza's grasp. "Funny, it's the same village our client is fleeing from," the boy said, shaking furiously and sputtering out random words. "Kano Hagakure no Sato," in Japanese. Kanoha, the word was venom to Naruto's ears. His face went from utter surprise to pure anger. How could Naruto have missed it? The ANBU attacking on the same day Gamakichi shows up. It would explain why the attack was so well coordinated. At that moment, Naruto wanted only one thing, Gamakichi dead. Naruto was at a loss for words with the toad. Gamakichi was an enemy. "It's not what it appears to be. Honest, I'm nothing more than a victim of circumstance," Gamakichi begged, and the masked boy sighed in frustration. "So, why are you here? Didn't I say I was on vacation? And going on a world tour? You know, seeing the sights and all," Gamakichi explained, "and then I was off to the land of waves. If you know what I mean, they have a lot of nice hot springs." Naruto felt a wave of relief and rage wash over him. On the one hand, he could take Gamakichi's word for it and dismiss the coincidence of the attack and his appearance. On the other hand, Gamakichi could be lying to save his own skin. He'll tell the next Konoha shinobi he meets about what he heard. "I guess we'll just have to get rid of him," Zabuza said, "and you know what to do, Haku." "Wait a minute. Naruto, please assist me," Gamakichi begged the former academy student. But Naruto refused to even look at Gamakichi. Haku was dealt 2 kunai. "Wait, can't we talk about it?" Haku brought the toad up to eye level. "Do I not get a last wish?" Gamakichi cringed as Haku thrust the kunai. "Please don't hurt him." Zabuza shifted his gaze from Naruto to Haku to Keitaro as these words left Naruto's mouth. Keitaro sighed. "What do you think, then?" Naruto carefully selected his next words. "Why don't we bring him along? I'm sure you could use him as a bargaining chip with whoever summoned him. Besides, he'd make a great pet." Naruto didn't look at the group once as he said these words, instead seeming to be preoccupied with his own 2 feet. "Pet?" Gamakichi grumbled, and Keitaro sighed again. "Fine, we'll keep him." "Are you going to listen to the brat?" Zabuza groaned as Keitaro pulled a rope from his bag and tied the toad up, Zabuza continuing to voice his displeasure. Afterwards, Keitaro pulled a pouch from his bag and placed the restricted toad within it. The pouch was large enough to hold Gamakichi, but only Gamakichi's head protruded. Keitaro tightened the pouch around his neck, making him look like a toad in a sleeping. "Hold him," Keitaro said as he handed Naruto the bound toad. "Huh? You said you wanted a pet?" Keitaro smirked. "Hey, I didn't mean." Keitaro was already out of range, and Naruto chased him down, shouting loudly. "What are your thoughts?" Haku inquired as the two moved further and further apart. "I think trusting a Boryokuden to hide us was the worst idea you've ever had," Zabuza bluntly stated. While Haku frowned beneath his mask, Keitaro and Naruto arrived in the small town in a matter of hours, but a massive expanse of water, as well as a swarm of whirlpools and dangerous currents, separated the land of waves and the land of fire. Naruto's jaw dropped as they approached the small town, which appeared to have been hit by a tornado or something similar. Garbage littered the streets, thrown aside carelessly. Underfed stray animals wandered the alleys aimlessly, hoping to find any form of nourishment, living or dead. Children in rags begged passers-by for money, which none could provide. "What exactly happened here?" Naruto inquired, his mentor muttering something about Gato. What a dump, Gamakichi exclaimed loudly, and everyone within earshot cast an evil glare at Naruto. Keitaro smacked the back of Naruto's head. Show some respect, kid. Naruto retaliated by flicking Gamakichi's nose and whispering, shut your trap. Shut your trap. Alright, Boss Hashi's already set up a place for us to stay, Keitaro said as the two navigated the maze of streets, turning left and right at random intervals. Eventually they reached an inn that towered over the other buildings and was also the most noticeable because it was the only one with a properly functioning neon sign. The interior was a lavish contrast to the town, with an elegant array of curtains, rugs, and furniture. To the side was a counter where one of the employees was busily sorting through the attendant's mail when Keitaro approached it and rang the bell. The employee appeared to be pulled away from her work. Oh, I'm sorry. Welcome to our modest inn. How can I assist you? Hello, Keitaro said politely. My boss reserved a room for two. Let me see, she said, opening a large book and quickly scanning it. Is that Momoji Hashi? She shifted her gaze from Keitaro to Naruto. Certainly, ma'am. Please find your room keys here. Your room is on the second floor, third from the stairs on the right. The outdoor baths are open 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. and the kitchen is open 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. We hope you have a pleasant stay. We will, Keitaro said, taking the room keys and handing one to Naruto, who was about to climb the stairs when the woman interrupted. Excuse me. This is a no pet, no weapons zone. Huh? Naruto realized Kitsune was still tied to his waist, and Gamakichi had remained silent for so long Naruto had forgotten he was there. Speaking of Gamakichi, Naruto still had no idea what he was going to do with him. Surely, if Gamakichi had a summoner, he would just summon Gamakichi on the spot, and Gamakichi would blab everything. If Gamakichi didn't, then he had no use for him. I'll take care of this, Naruto, Keitaro said frustratedly. Please take my belongings upstairs. Naruto quickly took Keitaro's belongings and went upstairs to their assigned room, which was small and rather quaint, with 2 futons and an open window, and not much else to mention except one bathroom with a broken sink and one lamp hung on the wall. Naruto set the items down and untied Gamakichi from his restraints, rubbing his legs and neck and asking, "What are you doing?" "That's thrice I've helped you," Naruto stated flatly, and Gamakichi shook his head, saying, "You tie me up and tell me you've helped me out thrice. The first was when I gave you something to eat back at Hashi Manor. Sensei's you decided to leave the kitchen a mess, and I got stuck cleaning it all up," Naruto said menacingly to the cowering toad as he advanced on the position of the small critter. "I suppose now is not the time to apologize." Gamakichi backed up against the wall, desperate. "The second was back in the forest when I convinced the others to let you live," Naruto said, grabbing the toad. Naruto walked over to the window and opened it, holding Gamakichi out the window. They were 2 stories up, and Gamakichi would not survive the fall, ninja toad or not. "Whoa, don't make any hasty decisions, kid. Can't we just talk about it? I mean, I'm not ungrateful, but this isn't the way to solve a problem. The third is me letting you go," Naruto said calmly as he placed the toad on the window ledge. "Are you letting me go?" Naruto sensed the toad's confusion and said, "Look, I don't want anything to do with Konoha, okay?" Gamakichi gave a nod. "So if they find out you're missing, I'm going to be held responsible in some way. So I'd prefer you just leave, okay? I don't really want a pet in the first place. Are you letting me go?" "Exactly like that?" Gamakichi inquired. "If you were truly summoned, wouldn't your master have summoned you by now?" Naruto deduced. "But I'm not a summon," Gamakichi clarified, and Naruto nodded. "I figured that. Will you get it now?" "Thank you, Naruto," the toad said sheepishly as he turned to leave. "Here," Gamakichi said as he handed Naruto a scroll. "What exactly is this?" he inquired. "I figure I owe you one after everything you've done," Gamakichi explained, his head bowed, "so if you ever need anything, just open that scroll." With that, Gamakichi was gone, and Naruto felt a strange displacement. He didn't know why, but Naruto assumed it didn't matter. What's done is done. Naruto quickly unsheathed Kitsune again, wanting to admire it a little more. As Naruto admired every angle of the blade, he felt a strange fixation to it. "Kitsune, hey, Naruto, do you want some ramen?" Keitaro said through the door, and Naruto was jolted out of his trance by the mere mention of the word. "Sure. All right, then," Keitaro said as Naruto quickly tied Kitsune to his waist and led them away. They stopped to eat at a small ramen shop in one of the poorer areas because Keitaro thought it would be a good way to help the locals if they shopped in the poorer areas to help the local economy. The ramen shop reminded Naruto of the Ikaraku back in Well. He didn't want to remember it. Naruto ordered pork ramen and Keitaro ordered a bottle of their strongest sake. Naruto was uneasy as he ate his first bowl of ramen. He could feel those nearby watching his every bite, as if they were waiting for him to drop something. After all, many of the nearby people would have gladly given an arm and a leg for some nourishment. What difference did a crumb make? Halfway through his bowl, he stopped eating, and Keitaro, who was only drinking sake, noticed and asked, "Something wrong?" "Nothing," Naruto lied, but he could feel someone's eyes on him, and it was nerve-wracking to think how many people were watching him eat. "Let's eat here," a familiar voice said, and Naruto panicked. Scarecrow, he thought. Keitaro heard it as well, and quickly lowered Naruto's rice hat and raised the collars of his cloak, mouthing 2 words, "Say nothing." Keitaro poured sake into his cup quickly and drank it all at once. "Can't we eat somewhere else, Kakashi-sensei?" inquired a purely feminine voice as 5 people entered the small shop. "I thought you were the one who asked to stop and eat," Kakashi replied, grumbling. "I didn't mean in a ramen shop." The girl sat down next to Naruto at the counter, and Naruto could see the familiar strands of cherry pink hair and red dress from the corner of his eye. It was undoubtedly Haruno Sakura, one of the students who passed the graduation exam and became genin. "What are you going to order, Sasuke?" she asked, and Naruto blinked. Sasuke was the one person Naruto despised the most. He was the best student at the academy, a descendant of the almighty Uchiha clan, the dream husband of every girl, and the envy of every guy, and he also graduated at the top of the class, making him the #1 rookie genin. "I'm not hungry," he stated flatly, and Sakura almost fell over in surprise, knowing she was going to order whatever he ordered in an attempt to impress him. "I'll take a beef ramen," said an elderly man, who, despite being 3 seats away from Naruto, could smell the alcohol in his breath. "The same here," Kakashi explained. "I'd like some too," said a third voice, which Naruto couldn't place because it sounded vaguely familiar, but he couldn't put his finger on why. It carried an air of mixed confidence and pain, as if the owner was trying to be strong to hide their true feelings. Naruto finished his ramen while still trying to place the voice. "It's difficult to believe he, of all people, would leave the village," Sakura said as she shamelessly helped herself to more noodles. "I mean, he was always claiming to be greater than the other Hokage. I just can't believe it," Sakura said again, clearly referring to him, and the two began to list the crimes he had committed: killing 3 shinobi, beating a Konoha citizen to death, and bribing several citizens to leave him alone. "Well, now he's been declared an S-rank criminal," Kakashi continued, "which means he's a kill-on-sight killer." The genin and their sensei ignored Naruto's remark, and the conversation shifted to their mission, which had reached some invariable complication. Apparently, the team ran into a complication with a rouge ninja named Zabuza, which served Kakashi right. Keitaro nudged Naruto in the ribs, and Naruto knew it was time to leave. Keitaro stood up to leave, and Naruto followed, but he tripped on his cloak and fell face down on the ground. "Are you okay?" As Naruto picked himself up, he realized his hat had fallen off, and his face went numb with fear. He turned to see the surprised Sakura, who mumbled, "Naruto. Hi. Are you okay?" Sakura inquired of the boy who had collapsed. When she saw the familiar blonde hair, the longing sky-blue eyes, and the ever-remarkable whisker-like birthmarks, she gasped. "Naruto. He had to be the one of all people." Hi, said the blonde, dazedly. Naruto cursed his good fortune. He couldn't think of anything to say. He wanted to run, but his feet wouldn't cooperate. The scene was frozen in time. Naruto's attention shifted from Sakura to Sasuke. Unlike Sakura, Sasuke appeared unfazed by the situation. Naruto then turned to face the old man, who was in a drunken stupor. His gaze eventually met Kakashi's. Because a mask covered most of Kakashi's face, it was difficult to read his expression. Finally, he noticed the group's third genin. He recognized her right away, but he didn't know her name. Her expression shifted from surprise to sorrow to rage. She averted her gaze. For the longest time, no one moved. How should Naruto proceed? He couldn't run because they'd find him and kill him. He could fight, but even with Keitaro, the odds were stacked against him. Kakashi was the first to get up from his seat. He held a kunai in his hand, which he gripped dangerously tightly. He approached Naruto slowly, as if he wanted to avoid what was about to happen. He came to a halt inches in front of Naruto and looked at the blonde. Naruto froze in place, unable to move. He felt a shiver run down his spine. He attempted to get up and run, but his legs would not move. His gaze was drawn to Sakura, who was looking at him with a terrified expression on her face. She stammered. Naruto was aware of Kakashi's icy stare. Fear bound him, preventing his muscles from moving. Sakura's eyes begged him. She averted her gaze, unable to face her former classmate. Naruto's gaze shifted to Sasuke, who remained unconcerned about the events unfolding in front of him. He looked on with a mixture of amusement and disinterest. finally, his gaze was drawn to the third team member. She avoided his gaze, instead preoccupied with her ramen. Naruto examined her pale, pupilless eyes and saw nothing. Her eyes were cold and lifeless. She was in pain, even though she didn't show it. Not the physical pain of a kunai scratch or exhaustion after a long training session. It was an emotional ordeal, a pain Naruto was all too familiar with. He wanted to say something to her, anything that would help her, but his ability to speak was hampered by fear. Kakashi raised the kunai after scanning Naruto, but he paused for some reason. Naruto had no idea why Kakashi was hesitant. Kakashi murmured, "Minato-sensei." Before dropping his arm to his side, Kakashi examined the kunai in his hand. "Who?" Naruto inquired. Kakashi turned away from Naruto's question and looked at Keitaro. "I take it you're Naruto's bodyguard, Sora Keitaro?" Kakashi asked calmly. Keitaro took a step in front of Naruto, his katana held menacingly. When Kakashi saw Keitaro, he seemed amused. Naruto could only speculate as to why. "I hope you don't intend to hurt anyone with that kunai," Keitaro said. Naruto noticed the villagers beginning to enter the nearby buildings as Keitaro said these words. Even the owner of the ramen shop left, disappearing into the store's back kitchen. Shink. Kakashi's kunai was blocked by Keitaro's katana. Kakashi glared angrily at Keitaro. To Kakashi's chagrin, Keitaro smiled calmly. What happened next surprised everyone. 2 smoke bombs were thrown at Kakashi and Keitaro. Everyone was blinded by a thick white fog caused by the resulting smoke screen. Keitaro quickly grabbed Naruto's shoulder and yelled, "Run." The shackles of fear were broken as adrenaline filled every vein in Naruto's body. Naruto was sprinting down the village streets before he realized it. "Don't let them escape," Kakashi yelled after them. The academy training, as well as the constant pursuits from Konoha's citizens, paid off handsomely. Naruto was capable of releasing massive bursts of energy with each step he took. However, Keitaro's leg was still injured from the night before his fight. He limped behind Naruto, doing his best to keep up but still remaining a shadow's distance behind the blonde. As they raced through the streets, Sasuke appeared behind the pair and unleashed a barrage of kunai. Again, Naruto's time at the academy proved useful. The many drills Iruka-sensei put him through flooded back into Naruto's mind. Sasuke is left-handed, so more kunai would come from the left. If Naruto was lucky, most of the kunai would curve to the right. There was a burning sensation on Naruto's right cheek. "Ouch!" Naruto screamed. A kunai scratched his cheek, cutting deep into his skin. Naruto grabbed the side of his face in pain. He could feel the blood gushing into his side. Make him pay, make him bleed, Naruto thought. He reached for Kitsune's hilt with his spare hand. "Don't use your sword," Keitaro barked, bringing Naruto out of his bloodlusting state. "It'll only justify what they're doing. The last thing we need is to give them a legitimate reason to kill you." Naruto realized what he was about to do and released Kitsune's handle. What was he thinking? If Konoha was mad at him for doing nothing, imagine what they would do if he killed their shinobi, especially their precious Sasuke, whom everyone agreed was the pride of the village. They continued running, cutting through several alleyways in the hope of confusing their pursuer. As they ran, the barrage of kunai grew increasingly frantic. Sasuke seemed less concerned with hitting Naruto and Keitaro, and more concerned with throwing as much kunai as he could. "Naruto," Keitaro began, "we have to ditch this kid. If he keeps throwing kunai like this, he's going to kill someone." As Keitaro said this, a kunai barely missed a woman holding a crying baby. "So where do we go?" Naruto asked. Keitaro took the lead and said, "This way." They turned a corner and Naruto laid eyes on an office building just down an empty street. Much like the hotel, it was more extravagant than the surrounding buildings. A fresh coat of paint covered the building. Along the front entrance was a large sign reading, "GATOU Corporation." Tall walls surrounded the perimeter of the building, hiding a beautiful garden decorated with statues and fountains of many designs. The only entrance was an old iron gate where 2 men stood guard. As they ran, Sasuke appeared in front of them with kunai in both hands. Sasuke hurled them at Naruto. In that instant, Naruto forgot why he wasn't using his katana. Naruto unsheathed Kitsune and blocked each of the kunai. From behind Naruto, Keitaro gave a loud yelp. Surprise etched itself on Naruto's face as a hand dragged Keitaro neck deep into the ground. "Well, that went better than I hoped," Kakashi's sly voice rang. Naruto scanned around and saw the Jonin standing on the roof of a store. "I'm sure you can handle him by yourself, right, Sasuke?" Sasuke nodded and advanced on the blonde. Naruto backed against the wall, his face turning as white as snow. Keitaro, still buried neck deep into the ground, shouted, "Get out of here." Run? What was he supposed to do? He couldn't leave Keitaro alone with these two. Sasuke took his kunai and prepared to strike. Clang! Sasuke's face twisted in surprise. Naruto used Kitsune and blocked Sasuke's kunai. The two of them locked in a stalemate, Sasuke pushing down on the sword with all his might. From above, Kakashi mused at the struggle between the two. What occurred to Naruto was Kakashi's refusal to help Sasuke. First, Kakashi hesitated to kill him. Then, Kakashi refuses to help Sasuke. Why? What was holding Kakashi back? Naruto was able to knock Sasuke back and stand up on his 2 feet. Naruto grasped Kitsune with 2 hands, the way Hashi-sensei instructed him. Naruto calmed himself and took deep breaths. His thoughts went back to his lesson. Sasuke, annoyed at Naruto's ability to stop him so easily, threw himself at the blonde with a kunai in each hand. Naruto skillfully blocked both of them. Naruto smiled at his small victory when he felt someone kick the back of his head. Naruto caught himself and landed behind Sasuke. He looked up and saw Sakura standing triumphantly where Naruto was seconds ago. Naruto scowled. Sorry, Sakura murmured. Naruto raised Kitsune again, taking the defensive stance Hashi-sensei taught him. Kakashi-sensei, Sakura said almost pleadingly. Kakashi shook his head. This time, Naruto attacked first. He swung Kitsune down, missing Sasuke by mere inches. Sasuke countered by throwing kunai at Naruto. Naruto ducked down, and the kunai flew past him. Naruto took his katana and instantly began attacking Sasuke again. Naruto swung Kitsune furiously, but Sasuke easily dodged each strike. Why can't I hit him? Naruto clenched his teeth in anger. With each swing, Naruto became increasingly tired. Eventually, Naruto collapsed from the fatigue, no longer able to keep up his barrage. Sasuke smirked. Idiot, Sasuke taunted. No wonder you failed the graduation exam. Memories of Naruto's academy days flooded into his head. No matter what he did, Iruka always berated Naruto for never properly performing jutsu. Then the students would laugh. Naruto would say he was going to be greater than all of them. Then someone would make a smart mouth comment. The process went on until Naruto wound up eating his own words. Shut up, Naruto said. Hot tears welled in his eyes. What's the matter? Gonna cry? Shut up. Naruto threw himself as Sasuke. In a quick exchange of fists, Naruto pinned Sasuke to the ground. Naruto had his hand wrapped around Sasuke's neck, trying to choke the genin. Sasuke was gagging rather loudly, trying to pry Naruto off. With his other hand, Naruto held Kitsune to Sasuke's stomach. What is going on here? Someone demanded. All heads turned on a short, fat man in a yellow shirt and black slacks. He wore a purple tie and a black coat, and fashioned his hair back. With one hand he stroked a thin mustache, and with his other he held an ornate cane with diamond on the end which he caressed. The 2 guards Naruto saw earlier were trying to dig out Keitaro, who was grumbling about lateness. 2 others, wearing bandanas and torn clothes, brandished their weapons angrily. Sasuke scrambled onto his feet and drew several kunai. The short man walked his way over to Kakashi, carrying himself as if there were a large weight on his shoulders. There was a very obvious height difference of several feet between the man and Kakashi. Who the hell do you think you are? The man demanded threateningly yet respectfully. We're shinobi from Konohagakure no Sado, Kakashi answered. Naruto watched with interest as a smile grew on the man's face. A little far from home, aren't we? The man growled. I'm well within my right to kill you and your brats after the mess you made on my property. We're on a routine escort, protection mission, Kakashi explained as he pushed Sasuke and Sakura behind him. The man smiled. Really? Then where's the client? Kakashi was at a loss for words. Naruto couldn't believe it. This man outwitted the shinobi and could kill them if he wanted. Still, the man surprised Naruto again with his next action. Listen, I'm a man of reason, so why don't we make bargain? I'll let you and your kids over there go. In exchange, all I want is for you to leave me and my interests alone. Got that? Naruto's jaw dropped. The man was reasoning with them. Not only that, but he was letting them go when he held all the cards. Naruto wanted to protest but stopped when he realized Keitaro was standing next to him. Relax, Gato knows what he's doing, Keitaro informed Naruto. Gato, this was the Shade, the one Zabuza scorned. He didn't seem all that bad. In fact, he seemed quite the contrary. So, what do you say? Gato asked the Jonin. Kakashi sighed in defeat. We'll go. Sasuke, Sakura, let's go find Hinata. The 3 ninja disappeared with the common shinobi exit, a smoke bomb followed by a quick disappearance. Once the smoke cleared, Gato walked over to Keitaro and Naruto. Keitaro, it's been too long. How are things with you and your Good, Keitaro answered. Gato smiled at the answer, not the same cold smile he gave Kakashi. It was a warmer smile, the kind given to an old friend. So this is Hashi's brat, huh? Who are you calling a brat? Naruto demanded. Maybe Zabuza was right. Maybe Higato is a jerk. Gato laughed. I didn't mean anything by it. Come, let's go inside. It's late and you two must be tired. That scratch needs to get looked at. Naruto remembered the cut Sasuke's kunai gave him and put his hand over it. The bleeding stopped, but it was still sore. Naruto could feel the blood beginning to dry on his cheek. Yes, thank you, Keitaro answered. He followed after Gato as he entered the building. Naruto followed after them, still fuming about Gato's brat comment. Inside the building, Naruto saw a grander version of the hotel lobby. Every wall was covered with elaborately made paintings and the windows were adorned with beautiful silk curtains. Overhead was a glass chandelier that cast light throughout the lobby. There was a large desk where two women were filling out paperwork and placing it in various boxes. Gato approached one of the women and asked them to get a doctor. The woman nodded and left. She'll just be a minute. Hashi sent me a letter ahead of time, Gato said, and explained the situation to me. Naruto, was it? Yeah, Naruto answered bitterly. Right, we have a safe house set up for you. It's not as nice as the hotel, but it'll do for now. We'll move you there in a week. Why so long? Keitaro asked. Naruto found himself wondering the same thing. Simple, Gato explained. Hashi asked us to make sure no harm comes to you, so we're setting up some preventative measures so there are no problems with shinobi or rival families. Wait, what? Naruto asked. Keitaro groaned. He means they're just doing a little more work to make sure it's safe from anyone who wants you dead. Oh, I get it, Naruto answered. The woman returned with a doctor behind her. She pointed at Gato and returned to her work at the desk. Did you need something? The doctor asked. Gato nodded. Yeah, take a look at Naruto here, will ya? The doctor nodded and motioned for Naruto to follow him. Naruto followed the doctor down a dark hallway, leaving Gato and Keitaro at the lobby. As he left, he heard Gato say, I have a proposition for you, Keitaro. The doctor rubbed alcohol wipes on Naruto's cheek. The stinging sensation caused Naruto to cringe and squeeze the chair he was sitting on. The doctor produced a string and a needle and began to stitch the cut. Looks like the bleeding stopped. The doctor commented, there are no signs of infection, but I have to admit, it's healing peculiarly fast for a cut this deep. Naruto cringed as he felt the needle weave in and out of his skin. The doctor cut the string as finished the stitches. There's going to be a scar there. The wound healed too quickly, so there's no chance the scar will ever go away. Naruto rolled his eyes. Stupid Sasuke. This scratch is his fault, Naruto thought as the doctor rubbed an alcohol wipe over the wound. It stung his scarred cheek. He bit his lips, squeezing the chair he was sitting on as a reaction to the pain. Naruto's thought drifted towards the fight with Sasuke. He must have looked like a complete idiot. Sasuke hit him plenty of times, but Naruto couldn't hit Sasuke once. Why? What did he do wrong? He did exactly as Hashi-sensei taught him. What did he do wrong? Was Sasuke just that good? No, Naruto refused to accept that. He would never accept that. Is that your katana? The doctor asked, pointing at Kitsune. Naruto, pulled out of his own internal rant, realized he was holding Kitsune unnaturally close. He didn't know why, but it seemed natural for the katana to be this close. Wait, what was he thinking? He must be crazy to even think that. Naruto laid the sword against the wall and nodded. Better be careful, otherwise you'll get a cut that can't be stitched, the doctor warned. All done. Naruto stood up, rubbing his still sore cheek. Thanks. Do you know where Keitaro and Gato went? Probably in Gato's office, the doctor said. He usually goes there when a business associate comes by. But you'd better wait in the lobby. What? Why? Naruto asked. The doctor and Naruto left the room, walking down the hallway to the lobby. Gato isn't ever fond of being disturbed during a business meeting, the doctor said. The last guy who broke in was well better, it's not to say. Naruto saw a tear slide down the doctor's eye. The doctor left Naruto waiting on an armchair in the lobby before disappearing into the building. The lobby was quiet, except for the scribbling noises the two secretaries made as they went through paperwork. Naruto distracted himself from boredom by staring out the window. It was night outside. The sun disappeared beyond the horizon, the moon taking its place in the starry sky. Naruto's thoughts still lingered on the fight. He retraced every movement he and Sasuke made. Naruto's strikes should have hit their mark, but Sasuke was always able to dodge them. Was it because he was faster? No way, it couldn't be. What went wrong? Naruto growled in frustration. Then Naruto remembered the training Keitaro was supposed to give Naruto. Maybe Naruto could ask Keitaro. After all, Keitaro was Hashi's number 2 man. Surely he would know. You're making a huge mistake, Keitaro. Gato's angry voice broke the tranquility of the lobby. Naruto and the two secretaries looked at the top of the staircase. Keitaro was descending the stairs quickly, with an angry Gato after his tail. Listen to me, you can be rich. You would have anything in your wildest dreams. You wouldn't have to worry about him. I told you, I'm not interested, Keitaro said, maintaining his calm composure. Naruto couldn't believe the complete change in Gadu's attitude. The cheery disposition Naruto saw earlier was gone and replaced with a more aggressive state. It fit Gadu's personality a lot more than it should have though. Naruto didn't know which attitude he preferred more. Gadu threw his cane at Keitaro, who sidestepped just as it was about to hit him. Gritting his teeth, Gadu threatened, "You're going to regret this. You and your pretty girl." Keitaro stopped in his tracks and faced Gadu, who was already at a height disadvantage. "If you have any honor left in you, you will never, and I mean never, bring her into this," Keitaro warned. Gadu smirked cunningly. "Did I touch a nerve?" "Shut up," Keitaro barked. Gadu, satisfied with Keitaro's reaction, climbed the stairs and disappeared. Keitaro turned to see the surprised look on the secretaries' faces and shouted, "Don't you have work to do?" The panicked secretaries returned to their paperwork, obviously terrified of Keitaro's seething rage. He marched over to Naruto. "The doctor take care of you." "Yeah," Naruto said sheepishly. "What was that about?" "Nothing. We're going back to the inn," Keitaro said. Keitaro stormed out of the compound, with Naruto trailing behind him. Naruto wanted to keep pace with Keitaro, which was easy considering Keitaro's limp, but didn't want to get near Keitaro. Keitaro was overflowing with rage, and seemed ready to snap at the next person to talk to him. Naruto assumed it was because of Gadu's threat. "You're going to regret this. You and your pretty girl." Naruto wanted to ask about his training, but he decided against it. Bothering Keitaro didn't seem like the smart decision right now. Instead, he decided to enjoy the serene silence of the village. At least he tried, but the number of homeless citizens proved too distracting. There were many people spread out across the street, enduring the cold night's chill with only newspapers to keep themselves warm. Grief struck Naruto when he saw a family of 5, 2 parents and their children, huddling together to keep warm. "Terrible, isn't it?" Keitaro commented. "Yeah, why is the village like this?" Naruto asked. Keitaro didn't answer, leaving Naruto to ponder the answer to this question. When they entered the inn, Naruto saw the clerk glance at Keitaro and then blush. She smiled politely at Keitaro but appeared distraught to see he didn't return the smile. As witness to this event, Naruto couldn't help but ask, "What was that about?" "Nothing," Keitaro answered, his face turning a curious shade of pink. "It doesn't look like nothing," Naruto answered slyly. Keitaro's face turned a deeper shade of red. "Why don't you run upstairs while I go get some food?" Keitaro tried to divert the question. He pushed Naruto towards the stairs before racing off to the kitchen. Naruto climbed the stairs quietly before entering their room. The light bulb buzzed loudly as Naruto turned it on. The ear-splitting noise gave Naruto a headache, so he turned it off. He walked across the room and sat on the windowsill, staring at the pale moon. It reminded him of the pale eyes of the third team member in Sasuke's team, Hinata. Hyuga Hinata, if he remembered correctly. She was a quiet girl, and she didn't regularly make eye contact with Naruto. He didn't know why, but he assumed it was because she hated him like the rest of the village. The rest of the village either never looked at him or talked to him or even acknowledged he was there. She was undoubtedly the same, since she never spoke when he came into earshot or looked at his general direction. The toad escaped. Keitaro's voice surprised Naruto, who fell off the window and onto the floor with a thud. "Do you fall over yourself a lot?" Keitaro asked. Naruto looked up at Keitaro and saw 2 bowls in his hands. Keitaro placed the bowls down on the window ledge before offering Naruto a free hand. Naruto gladly accepted it. "I let Gamakichi go," Naruto explained as Keitaro pulled him up. "You let him go?" Keitaro repeated. "Were you trying to be cool by copying Gado?" "What? No, That really wasn't a smart move," Keitaro commented with a calm voice. "Never copy Gado ever again. In our business, being merciful can be very dangerous. Trust me, he's going to regret letting those ninja go." "Well, I'm sorry, but it's not like It's alright. It was an honest mistake." Keitaro interrupted Naruto again. "We're just going to need to be cautious from now on. Now, let's talk about your technique." "My technique?" Naruto asked. Keitaro was diverting the conversation again. Was there a reason for it? Regardless, Naruto wondered what Keitaro meant by technique. Yet Keitaro reached inside his cloak and retrieved a pack of cigarettes. "Keitaro smokes," Naruto thought as the man strode past him. Keitaro limped over to the window and pulled one out of the box. "You don't mind, do you?" "No," he answered. Keitaro nodded and passed Naruto one of the bowls. It was filled with rice and 2 fried fish. Naruto took a bite out of one of the fish as Keitaro lit one of his cigarettes. Keitaro took a long drag on it before he blew smoke out the window. "Your technique lacks discipline and refinement. Don't get me wrong. You did fine defending yourself, but your attack, it sucks," Keitaro explained rather bluntly. Naruto dropped his head. "Sucks. What did I do wrong?" Naruto asked, trying to control the desire to hit his bodyguard. Keitaro took a long drag on his cigarette before tossing out the window. You weren't really aiming when you swung your katana around like a madman, were you? Aim? Naruto questioned. I'm supposed to aim. Of course. Otherwise you'd never hit anyone unless they were standing still, and even then you put so much energy into your swing that there's chance it'll miss. Is that what Naruto forgot to consider? His aim. It would explain Sasuke's ability to perfectly dodge each swing. Still, if Naruto's aim was a problem, then he needed to perfect it. There is no way Naruto would let Sasuke beat him again. You also waste a lot of energy with each swing. Although you have a lot of it, Keitaro went on. Wasting my energy. Naruto had no idea swordsmanship would be so complex. You throw kitsune around like it's a club. It's a sword, not a frying pan. The harder you swing, the worse your aim will be. You also tire yourself faster, which is why you collapsed after 1 minute. Shock etched itself onto Naruto's face at the revelation. The blonde refused to believe he lost after 1 minute. Keitaro lit another cigarette. You've got a lot of work cut out for yourself. The next morning, Keitaro and Naruto ventured out into the woods after a quick breakfast of fried rice and soup. In his hands, Keitaro was holding 2 shinai. Okay Naruto, Keitaro said as he handed Naruto a shinai. Your first exercise is to hit me once with this before sunset. Just hit you? Naruto questioned. Keitaro nodded. Before sunset. Naruto repeated. Yup, I'm not even going to use a shinai. Keitaro smiled. It sounded too easy to be true. Something was wrong. What's the catch? Naruto asked. You have to hit me before sundown, Keitaro finished. Yup, there was a catch. Still, if Naruto had until sundown, then he would have plenty of time to spare. Keitaro had a bad leg, so there was no way he could avoid any of Naruto's attack. Without a shinai, Keitaro couldn't block Naruto, let alone retaliate. This exercise was in the bag. Naruto grasped the shinai, remembering Hashi lesson. Sensei's breathe, let it come naturally, don't force the action. Like the twitch of a wrist or the bending of an arm. Let it flow naturally. Naruto swung the wooden sword at Keitaro, who easily stepped to the side and avoided it. Naruto blinked. Did he know I was going to move? Naruto charged at Keitaro without hesitation. Unfortunately, Keitaro sidestepped again and tripped Naruto. The blonde fell face down onto the ground with a smack. I thought you said you wouldn't defend yourself. Naruto growled as he stood up. Keitaro chuckled. I said I wouldn't use a shinai. I said nothing about stepping out of your path. Naruto pointed the shinai at Keitaro and charged the man again. Like before, Keitaro easily dodged the blow. Naruto began to grow impatient and aimlessly attacked Keitaro with a fury or rapid blows. Keitaro easily ducked and dived out of the way of each attack. You're doing what you did yesterday. Remember, you're supposed to aim your swing. The pattern continued like this for a good portion of the day. Naruto kept chasing Keitaro around the clearing, doing everything in his power to hit the man. As the pursuit ran on, Naruto became increasingly tired. He knew this, and Keitaro probably saw it by now since Naruto was panting heavily. Naruto needed to rest, but if he rested then so did Keitaro. Naruto had to press the assault. He couldn't give Keitaro a chance to slow down. Once again, Naruto sped towards Keitaro with his shinai in the air. As Naruto swung the shinai down, he saw Keitaro's right leg twitch. Nice try, Keitaro teased. Naruto eyed Keitaro's leg. Did he imagine the twitch? Or was it there? He decided to test the theory and raised his shinai again, but used a defensive stance rather than an offensive stance. Keitaro saw this and smiled confidently. Defending yourself won't work if you're the one on the offense. Naruto inched closer to Keitaro, looking for an opening in the man's stance. He stood perfectly still, both arms folded across his chest. Once Naruto was a foot from the man, he swung the blade at Keitaro. Like before, he saw Keitaro's right leg twitch before he jumped out of the way. Naruto smiled at his discovery. His right leg twitched before he moved. Now he needed a way to use that to his advantage. Naruto repeated his action, raising his shinai and inching towards Keitaro while keeping focus on his right leg. Naruto swung the shinai down to the right of Keitaro's body. Keitaro's right leg twitched to the left before he stepped to the left. Naruto smiled. His victory was assured. Naruto raised his shinai again, pointing just to the right. He inched towards Keitaro, trying to mask his intent with a blank face. Naruto raised the shinai once Keitaro was in arm's reach. Just as Naruto thought, Keitaro's leg twitched to the left. Naruto swung down as fast as he could just as Keitaro was about to sidestep. Boink! Naruto dropped the shinai. Keitaro hit the ground with a soft thud, surprised by the turn of events. Naruto fell over backwards onto the ground, gasping for air. Was he getting out of shape? He never got tired this quickly. Naruto looked from Keitaro to the shinai. Well, you hit me. Keitaro stood up, holding his right shoulder. Naruto smiled triumphantly, still trying to catch his breath. Keitaro smirked. Don't get ahead of yourself. Remember, I'm the one with limp. Naruto frowned. Keitaro just had to take away Naruto's moment. Keitaro leaned against one of the trees. Let's take a quick break. Naruto nodded in agreement and drifted off to sleep, oblivious to the pale eyes that silently watched him from afar.
So this was it for today. I will continue the story in next part. Till then, we weave offline.